What's happening, good people? We are here on June 25th to record Macro Dirt Podcast number 52, the Ray Lewis podcast with my man, Jared Fuzzhead Dillian. What's up, bro?
What's up, Cumstain?
Ooh, coming hot today. That's fine. That gets me right in the mood. I have so much energy today. First of all, the Ray Lewis episode, right? Were you a fan of his?
Who is Ray Lewis?
Oh, Jesus Christmas. Anyway, that's fine. He's an
Is
NFL.
this the guy that was like accused of murder? Is that?
Yeah. He's got a shaky off the field story attached to him, and I don't want to talk.
Was there like
about
somebody in a trunk or something like that? Like,
I don't know. I didn't hear that detail, but there's reason to believe that he killed someone in self-defense. Sounds like that may have actually happened. I want to talk about.
We're going to do the Aaron Hernandez podcast. What was his number?
God. That's scary. Yeah, I don't know. I think he was like 90-something or something like that. We got a ways to go. But Ray Lewis, dude, University of Miami Hurricane, All-American, first-round pick, 17 seasons with the Ravens, okay? 2 Super Bowl championships, right? The first one, he was NFL Defensive Player of the Year. That Ravens team allowed the fewest points in a season, 165, still the record. That Ravens team gave up the fewest rushing yards ever allowed in the NFL, less than 1,000 yards. Why?
Oh my God.
Right? Dude, they beat the Giants 34-7 in the Super Bowl. It wasn't a game. It was over at the fucking coin toss. Literally. And then he wins the Super Bowl again in 2013 with the 49ers, first ballot Hall of Fame selection. That is just a chef's kiss NFL career. Doesn't get any better than that. And it doesn't get any better than a new book out. Is that right, JD?
Oh, yeah.
The follow-up to our John Gordon episode, which got so much good traction and made people so happy that we spoke about something off topic. I am excited to read this book. I really am.
Yeah. You know what's funny is Those Bastards, which is kind of the prequel to this, was also a collection of essays that sold a lot of copies. I'm trying to convey to people, like, we had this conversation with John Gordon about success and spirituality, and I read passages from the book, and he's like, "Oh, co-signed. Like, this is, I totally agree with this." You know, I mean, like I've said before, 2005, 20 years ago, when I was at Lehman, I was a fucking disaster. Like, mentally, I was a disaster. I had a big job. I was running ETF trading at Lehman, and on the surface, things seemed to be good, but I was a disaster. Mm-hmm. And I've spent the last 20 years working on how to get healthy up here, and that's really what it is. It's work. Like, you actually have to put in the work. Like, it takes a long time and it takes a lot of work. So this is all stuff that, if you read this book, if you're kind of lost, if you're kind of at sea and you need some help getting a road back to civilization, like, this book will definitely help. So, and it's funny. Like, I got people sending me DMs on Twitter, like, reading me lines out of the book.
Oh, that's a good feeling.
There's actually there's a line in here in one of the essays. I say, I like my personal finance like I like my porn, done by professionals.
Covers it nicely, I guess.
Yeah. So,
all right. Well, I'm excited to read that, man. That's going to be a good experience as somebody who has been sort of maybe spiritually adrift. And I, finally realized when I was young, and as a couple of my friends used to say, I used to dominate my existence. Like, I just used to sail through things, like, right through college, right into my young adult life as a single guy, and not sweat anything. And then I got married and had kids, and, you had some real, tumultuous times in my career, and those things will tear you apart. Like, just, things that you have to worry about, think about. So staying mentally healthy is a full-time job, and we do not ignore it here on the Macro Dirt podcast. That's for sure.
Dude, when I was a teenager, I was fearless. Like, I would go up to girls and chat them up and get dates. And, like, I like that's one of the reasons I always had a girlfriend in high school. Like I was just rotating through girlfriends because I had no fear. I would just go up to them. And then like at age 30, I was like I had so much fear. Like I couldn't talk to people. Like, the Lehman guys used to bring me out on client dinners, and
Yeah.
I just wouldn't speak the entire dinner. I was like afraid to talk. Like I was a mess.
That's
So
baggage, man. And they're paying
yeah,
for your dinner too. So that's like not a valuable asset, right?
yeah,
But we're gonna read the book. Everybody go buy the book. It's absolutely necessary to everyone's mental health.
yep.
Let's get on to the markets, man. I am excited about them. I am very excited about them from the place that I am sitting. What do you think?
So I have traded the last 3 or 4 weeks worse than anything I've ever traded, probably since like 2021. You
It's good
know,
that you can admit
I,
that.
it's funny. I was actually on George Noble's Spaces
Mhm.
last night, and I talked about it on that. Like, I'm a long gamma trader. I buy optionality, right? Like, I am betting that exogenous events will happen, right? So when tensions in Iran and Israel start picking up, like I'm not betting on things to get better, I'm betting on things to get worse, you know. So thank God I didn't trade oil because I would have bought it, right? I would have bought oil. Like sure, they're going to close the Strait of Hormuz, it's going to 120. Like I would have bought it.
Yeah.
But that's the way I think. I always think bad turns to worse,
Mhm.
and there's all these memes going around on Twitter about how like nothing ever happens. I don't know if you've seen these memes, but like people making all this money on nothing ever happens. And I
Mm.
mentioned last week about people fading geopolitical risk all the time. Dude, I was just on the wrong side of this. It's been so painful. It's been so
Mm.
painful. So
Well, there's a good lesson in that. There's definitely a good lesson in that. And that is, you have to realize when your style isn't fitting, right? And then you gotta pull the bankroll in, get the cards tight to the vest here and put little tiny bets in the circle, and until you start seeing the world, right? And then then you can start pushing your chips in. For me, this has been, if anything, if I was at fault of anything, it wasn't sort of abandoning like a sort of bullish view fast enough during the beginning of the sell-off. I was like, this is a cupcake sell-off. And then I got hurt by Liberation Thursday because that was more extreme, I think, than anybody expected. But I kind of just sat back and I said, okay, I'm going to get my bullish moment again. And when we pounded those old highs of 4,800 and bounced, that's when I was like, okay, things are getting better. And so now I didn't trade in a week. I was just away for 10 days. And now I look at the tape and I am salivating because I'm away. I'm in Europe. I'm reading about headlines that sound like World War III. We're bombing Iran now. And it's like unbelievable. And every time I want to look at the tape and expect it to be lower, it's not lower. And the VIX is only going 22 bid and it's fading again. So to me now, we've worn out all the downside fear and we are going to coil out of this and rally. It's got to be 300 or 400 S&P points. There are huge shorts positions out there that haven't covered, and there are probably still people that are thinking like, no, this ceasefire is bullshit. And maybe it is, but the bear case is an asteroid. The bear case is an asteroid. That's it. That's it. Dude, Nvidia is pushing the all-time high. Semiconductors have just rallied, like, exploded toward the all-time highs with new buying. Bitcoin just, resurrected itself back up above 100K. We just had a half a yard of inflows, the record for June, come into the Bitcoin market. Like, that says risk on to me.
Yeah,
And people
yeah.
are not positioned for this, man. So like I come back from vacation and I'm like, oh, the S&P is 6150 bid. I'm 6200 bid. Anybody? And I think that's where we're going. So I have passion for that. I'm positioned for that. Navigator readers are very happy with what's going on, knock on wood, and we're going to keep managing this risk. Tell you what's on my mind, JD. The dollar looks like a dumpster fire, keeps making a new low by like little increments. And you look at gold, and gold's like doing nothing. So I still got it in for gold for some reason, even though I'm long. I feel like it's so susceptible to like a $300 to $500 slide. You have any view on that at
Well,
all?
I mean, it went down about 60, $70 after we bombed Iran and
Yeah.
nothing happened.
Hmm.
But it's kind of stabilized. Like the chart still looks pretty good. Like it's an ascending triangle. Like it's there's a triple top, and as you know, there's no such thing as triple tops. So the other thing about it, like we still have to pass the big beautiful bill, right? And I
Hmm.
actually made a joke on Twitter this morning. I said the big beautiful bill BBB. I said they call it that because that's going to be our credit rating once we pass it.
Mm, I like that. Oh
BBB.
boy. Oh boy. That's going to be fucking ugly. You really think so?
I mean, it's a joke, but
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. But I
but
mean,
but the point is that the market was really focused on debt and deficits for a couple of months, and then it was focused on war, and now that the war is over, it's going to be focused on debt and deficits again. Bonds are kind of acting like shit today. Like yields actually went down for a little while, but now bonds are acting a little bit funny. So um, paying attention to that.
no, I understand. I'm paying attention to. I can't, take my eyes off of this. The top of the daily leaderboard for a couple days in a row. We've got Nvidia, Bitcoin chasing it. We've got transports waking up. Semiconductors look strong. There's a couple of other sectors of tech that look great on my charts. Facebook, social media, a couple of things like that are soaring. Nasdaq trading all-time highs. I mean, as a bull market trader, those are the things that make me salivate. I love being long securities into all-time highs when we aren't red line positive. Like what's CNN fear and greed weighing in at lately? Anybody any idea?
I don't
It's
know.
got it. Yeah, I'm really curious what that is. Let's see where it's sitting right now after not having. All right, it's at 62 greed. So markets, so that to me is still like, yeah, people are positive, but this thing can red line an extreme greed all the way up to 6,500,
Yep.
and I'll be long for that, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's there's a potential move there, and that's kind of what I'm positioned for, knock on wood, and keyed in on, man. So I'm just managing the risk, Gonna keep pulling my stops up closer to the market when they get taken
I, you
out.
know, I got to tell you, I'm listening to you flap your gums over there. I mean, it's funny because I think traders are good in different environments, right? Like this is your happy place right now. Like this is just breaking out to new all-time highs. Like this is where you really thrive.
You know
This
me,
is this is not for me. Like this
right?
is not my favorite environment. My favorite environment was back in April. Like I
Yeah,
cleaned up in April. I fucking cleaned up, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's
Recognizing who you are, where you are in the picture, right? That stuff's really important. Self
yep.
awareness again. Self awareness again. But it's good that you recognize that about me. That makes me even more bullish.
Yep.
Is there anything else in the markets, JD, that's kind of pressing that we haven't touched on? Is this silver and platinum story still intact?
Platinum still looks good. It does. And
Can't argue.
silver had a little drawdown yesterday, but it's kind of finding some footing today. So um, yeah, platinum still looks great.
Yeah, it looks constructive. Both of them are, kind of clinging to the highs and
Yep.
holding higher lows. And I mean, I wouldn't fade that stuff. That looks really good. Like I said, I'm just somewhat there's something in me, like the conversation in my head is just disappointed with gold. Gold was looking great. Everybody was happy. Now everybody's in gold, and they're like, "Oh, look, it's still the same price. That's awesome." And I feel like we're getting to a shit or get off the pot moment about a new high in gold. It's got to go.
Hmm.
So that's it, man. I don't have that many axes to grind. It's summertime. It's 95 degrees here, and everybody's kind of lethargic. It was great to be away. And should we go off topic, off markets?
Yeah, let's talk about this fucking dickhead in New York.
Dude, this is another psyop. I'm convinced. We didn't even hear anything about a mayoral candidate, and it went from, "Hey, look, there's a Muslim socialist guy running for mayor against Andrew Cuomo. Oh, Andrew Cuomo just conceded. There you go, guys. Good luck with the socialist Muslim mayor." And it's like, wait a minute, who is this guy? Where I didn't even get to look up. I can't even spell his name right yet. You know what I mean? And he's going to be elected mayor. Like, please tell me what you think is going on here.
Dude, I get a trip to New York next week. I'm coming back in August, and then I'm not coming back. I'm
Yeah,
not.
fuck. Last
I'm
one
not
out
I'm
hit the
not coming
lights.
back. Dude,
This guy is the defund the police guy.
yeah, I used to work in law enforcement. I used to wrestle. I know how to handle myself. but I'm 51 years old. I really don't want to tangle with people on the subway. Like, I'm not coming back. I'm not. Like, no
My
more parties in New York, no more visiting banks. No, like, I'm just not. Like, I'll go to Miami, I'll go to Nashville, you
Yeah,
know?
it's you hate to see that, and New York has been more resilient than anything I could have ever imagined. I mean, we lived through 9/11. So that's the only thing that I never count New York out of. But I'm going to sit here observationally and say, let's see you make it through this guy and survive. Because
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. My wife reports to her job in New York City just a couple of times a week. And I already like hit her when I saw this guy coming closer to the office. And I was like, those days of 1 or 2 days a week in the city, I'm about to close those down. So we're going to have to figure something out. It's just a shame. It's just a shame. And you wonder if it's the thing where maybe is there even this is what amazes me. Is there even a candidate on the right?
I mean, Andrew Cuomo was pretty centrist.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, but think about this: 1992, Rudy Giuliani got elected. Okay, Republican mayor of New York City. People said it couldn't be done. He won. He won by a whisker. It was like 51 to 49, and he won because he won Brooklyn and Queens, which was mostly blue collar Irish and Italian families, right, that voted for Giuliani. The demographics of New York have radically changed. Brooklyn
Mhm.
and Queens are not blue collar families anymore. They're these communist kids from Greenpoint, like
Yeah.
that's where AOC is from. Like, that's where all these DSA people are from. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't want to say you're never going to get another Republican mayor in New York again, but with the current demographics, the makeup of the city, it's pretty much impossible. And this has been a long time coming. Like, De Blasio, I mean, New York survived De Blasio. De Blasio was just as far left as this guy, but the difference is that De Blasio was lazy. Like, he was one of the laziest people on earth. Like, De Blasio campaigned on getting rid of the horse-drawn carriages. That was his one campaign promise, and he didn't even do that. He didn't do shit the entire time he was mayor, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So this guy is a different animal. He wants government run grocery stores. The guy that runs Gristedes is like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm gonna close all my grocery stores down. And dude, they are you're looking at there's going to be starvation in New York. It's going to be bad. So,
Yeah. I it's a real mental conundrum for me because after living through 9/11 and after living through we lived through the Biden administration where they turned the Roosevelt Hotel into an immigrant wasteland essentially, and I've gone in and out of New York City around lately, and I got to say there are no problems. I haven't seen any problems. I know crime has risen, but it hasn't been visibly a disaster. I don't love coming to the city as much, but I'm curious if this guy is the one that actually flips it to unlivable conditions, and it sure
yeah,
would be scary.
dude,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not one of these pearl clutching people that says, "Oh, the crime in New York is so bad." Because
right.
it's really not. Like, if you stay in the nice areas, it's fine. Like, it's really okay.
It was
But
worse in the
but
'70s. Yeah,
dude, this guy is Bane. He's gonna open Blackgate Prison, let all the prisoners out. It's gonna be insane. So
yeah. I mean, we can hope we're wrong, and if we're not, hopefully we'll make the right moves. What's terrifying me is that this move is taking place alongside the renovation of JFK Airport. And this was a conversation amongst my friends where now all of a sudden LaGuardia is like an oasis and Kennedy is an absolute unaccessible, unusable hellhole of an airport. You can't get to it anymore because of the road construction. It literally used to be a 15-minute ride from my house with or without traffic. And that was one of the nicest things about living in Atlantic Beach where I live was your access to the airport. Now it's an hour to get there, and it's no longer an asset to live in this area to me, and I'm kind of losing my mind about it, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I'm tense about this. I'm tense about this, and I'm happy to be on the record as that.
yeah.
I was very not tense last week in Florence, Italy, Lucca, Italy, and Viareggio, Italy. You ever been to any of those spots, JD?
I never been to Italy.
Oh my God. This is my fifth trip to Italy, and all I am concentrating on is figuring out how much time I can spend there between now and the day I die. I am so happy there. Number one, how about this? I mean, it is so lovely to be entrenched in the markets from that time zone, right? You've got the whole day to yourself before New York opens. You post up in the afternoon for a couple of hours, New York opens. You go have your dinner, and when you're going to sleep at night, New York is closing. And it's just perfect for your mentality, for whatever it is. You wake up, and I don't have to go running in and see what's going on in the markets. I can wake up and have a cappuccino by the pool and exercise and start
Hmm.
my day at 2 o'clock. It's really civilized. So, timestamp me, you are going to see a lot of Italian navigators delivered in the next 5 years. I'm going to figure out how to do like a month and a half, 2 month Airbnb there, because my soul explodes when I'm there. Everything around you is beautiful. The people are lovely. Everything you can eat at a bodega in Italy, and it will be a delicious prosciutto on focaccia sandwich. And you're like, I just got this at the bodega for €2, and it's delicious. So we did everything from that to go into upscale restaurants to go out on a boat on the water, Porto Venere, floating around in this port that is dates back to 1000 BC, an old Roman fishing village. You know how nice and cool and quiet and carefree it is there? You walk around there and your blood pressure implodes involuntarily. So that's why Italy's good to me. Where have you been in Europe that you like, JD?
I've been to Stockholm, Zurich, Geneva, London, Amsterdam. I like Amsterdam a lot. I like Amsterdam.
Amsterdam is great. I lived in Zurich for 6 months when I worked for UBS. What did you think of it there?
It's good. It's a little stuffy. It's a
Yeah,
little stuffy. It's a banker town. I guess they have a red light district that I didn't go to. But I guess they have like a great red light district that I just did not experience.
I didn't know that,
Um,
and I was there
but
for 6 months.
Geneva's an amazing place. So
Geneva is mini Paris.
yeah.
Mini Paris, as beautiful, almost as much culture, really gorgeous. Zurich to me, I loved. What I loved about Zurich was that it's split in two by the river, and half one side is the kind of more modern side of town where all the banks are, all the headquarters, UBS, and all that. And then on the other side of the river is kind of the quaint side where it's kind of like all old and villagey. And that used to be like the path home for me. I used to go work out on the other side of the river, have dinner, and then jump on my train home. But it's a little bit different situation there. Yeah, they're not very friendly. We used to call them Schweizer Deutsche Nazis, the Swiss German people, because they're literally like they're just not friendly, nice people. They grunt at you, and they can tell you're American by looking at you,
Yeah.
and then they just turn it off from there. You got to like beg for their attention. So shit like that. But it is a physically beautiful place. I'll give it that. What's your next destination? Where would you like to go on vacation next, JD? You can go anywhere in the world for a week and a half.
um, I'm not leaving the U.S. too much these days. I think. See, this is not a shot at you, but there are so many Americans going to Europe because of the exchange rate that I think it's just played out. Like I think Europe has turned into like an open air museum, and I just. Dude, I see some of my Facebook friends, like, they're going there with their cargo shorts and their t-shirts and they're being the ugly Americans. And I'm like, I really don't want to do that. So
See,
I really just want to stay in the US. I get a
I
trip to Miami at the end of August, staying in the Fiena. It's gonna be fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to that. So
That is cool. See, now I agree with you because I've done that where I've been in Italy in cargo shorts and the um, neon Nike sneakers and, getting looked at by everybody. And so by now, when I go to Italy, I bring really nice clothes and I dress like a gentleman. And when I go out in the sun, I wear my straw hat, my straw fedora hat. You know why? You know why they wear those, JD? Because they actually keep you cool. No, no, no. Like you put on a baseball hat, you're sweating. Yes, the sun
yeah.
is not in your eyes, but your head is sweating. You put on a straw hat and you get all this shade coverage and air going through. And you can walk around all day and yeah, you'll be a little bit sweaty, but the sun is off of you and it's they wear them for a reason over there in
Yep.
Italy. They're not as dumb as they look. So with the funny part, what I'll end with this is that myself and a couple of my other friends that had gotten all dressed up one night and we look over at a buddy of ours and he's literally wearing cargo shorts to his knees, sneakers with white socks that weren't quite pulled all the way up. We called them quitters.
Uh-huh.
And like a really bad polo shirt. And we're like, dude, go back in, get dressed again, and try it again. You know what I mean? This is not going to work here, you know? So that was funny, man. And I always like to end on a laugh. If there's nothing left then for you to discuss, we can call this a close on Macro Dirt 52. Go out and buy Rule 62, God damn it. Save your spiritual ass.
Yep.
Hasta la vagina, good people.
Hasta la vagina.
Peace.